In May of 2011, we went to visit some friends for a Memorial Day get-together. The families were there, so we had our children, they were playing in the pool. It was just your typical Memorial Day barbecue.
We were having a great time with my high school friends, and my friend had a beautiful candle sitting on the table. At one point, it went out, and she went to refuel it, and as soon as she did, it was like a flamethrower that shot across the table diagonally and
burned her terribly.
Set me on fire. It was horrific. The liquid was like napalm, so it stuck to the skin as a gel, and they couldn't get it all out immediately. It was just a very emotional, scary feeling. I didn't know whether I was going to live or whether I was going to die.
Our friends called 911, and an ambulance and a life flight helicopter came out. She was eventually transported to the helicopter, and she was flown directly to the Washington Hospital Center burn unit.
The pain was excruciating. I've never felt pain like that in my life. They were giving me morphine, and I was begging for more, and it still didn't work. And I just wanted, at that point, to be knocked out and be unconscious. And that was pretty much the last thing that I remember. As soon as they landed, I remember the lights of the hospital ceiling as I was being girded into the emergency room. I had bandages all over my body I was burned from the top of my head to the bottom of my toes.
Initially, I did not realize how dangerous, how much trouble that she was in. The senior-most burn surgeon came in, and I started asking about things like, reconstructive surgery, and he seemed more concerned about her survival. And that's when it really dawned on me this was a lot more serious than I expected.
I could see the pain on my family's face when they came to visit. I wasn't the mother that they had left that night. I was somebody different.
As Becky was going through her recovery, she was burned over 60% of her body. Quite often with burn patients, they take healthy skin from an area that was not burned to cover an area that was burned. In Becky's case, she did not have enough healthy, unaffected area to cover her burns.
Many somebodies donated tissue that saved my life. Without that, I would not be here. It was a pourable gel fuel that did not have the proper lid on it.
The Consumer Product Safety Commission announced a voluntary recall of the products earlier this month because of the flash fire dangers that have resulted in 2 deaths and dozens of injuries.
When it was being poured, the liquid hit the hot metal and it just ignited and shot towards me. It was literally like glue, napalm that stuck to my skin that you would see in the Vietnam War. We also found out the same day that there was something happened to me, something happened to another 15-year-old boy in New York, and that this stuff needed to be taken off the market.
I knew this was a very serious case, so I reached out to a friend of mine who made a very poignant recommendation. She said, "Michael, in your case, you need to find somebody who is experienced enough to go against big companies, but young enough to be hungry." I reached out to the Cochran Firm. It was a huge relief to know that I wasn't going to have to do the research to learn about legal aspects, to try and determine what the legal aspects even were.
To me, it was very easy. My job was to heal. My husband's job was to be by my side and by my children. And then the Cochran Firm's job was to take care of everything else, and that's what they did. They took care of everything. What I got out of the settlement was a lot more than just financial.
Something very important to her, but also very important to me, is to prevent this type of injury happening to someone else.
The product was removed off the market, and I just don't want to see anybody suffer like that ever. Again, being set on fire is the most horrible thing that anybody could go through.
Having the potential to have assets so that things would be easier for Becky in the future was also very important to me.
I'm still going to need reconstructive surgeries in the future, and I don't have to worry about where that money's going to come from because it's been set aside for my future. And that makes everything much better. It makes me feel comfortable that I don't have to worry about that.
From my personal experience, I can recommend the Cochran Firm because, one, I know how responsive they were to us. I know how professional they were. I know they know what they're doing and they can help folks, especially in the area of personal injury.
They took on the responsibility and the big corporations that I never would have been able to take care of, and I can never thank them enough, and they're wonderful, wonderful people.